some big news happened over the weekend. There was a phenomenal pay-per-view put together by Scott D'Amore and the rest of the fine folks at Impact Wrestling. And at the end of that show, they announced that TNA Wrestling is returning. We're back, is the announcement. TNA. So no more Impact. Now it's going to be called TNA. A lot of fans are excited about this. They're even going with the old school TNA logo, the OG logo. And I like it. And I think, like a lot of people, have still called it TNA most of the time anyway. Were you surprised to see that they're going back to the old nostalgia name of TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling?
You know, Conrad, I mean, on this topic alone, you know, I could go down so many rabbit holes and so many avenues. I'd heard rumblings, and, you know, boy, Conrad, do you really want to open up this can of worms? But yes, I'm surprised in a few different ways in that the conversations that I had with Anthem, I'll just leave it at that, all the way at the highest levels and all those, is that I was pretty clear with them that, hey guys, in my opinion, Impact Wrestling, naming that the company, was almost dead on arrival in 2011 and 12. The tagline, Wrestling Matters, and all that kind of stuff. But I said, I just think Impact Wrestling is dead, the television show. And so, Conrad, not to, you know, go on and on and on about it, but I had those conversations in depth and gave them the history, but they are well aware of it. They bought the show Impact from day one. Anthem did. So they knew that it was TNA Wrestling presents Impact. And so going down that road and knowing, okay, not a big fan of it. And that's where in my mind, hey, let's, if you don't like Global Force Wrestling, I even said that, hey, we can figure some kind of way and use a storyline and go back to TNA. There's a lot of equity. Your library is named that. The international partners have always, and that's, Conrad, you said you're like the international partners. There are many, many places, India specifically, Australia in a lot of ways. They never, ever quit calling it TNA Wrestling. And
right.
The double entendre isn't near as prevalent outside of the U.S. In so many markets. So all the I guess you could say information in my head, that's why I was like, okay, so now 5 years, 6 years after you acquired it, you're rebranding. So that would be a little bit of surprise to me. But then at the end of the day, it's all execution. It's all, what is Scott's bit? That is what I'm most optimistic about, is that, okay, Scott, what's your vision of TNA? You know, I know what mine was. I'm well aware, and you know, and we can talk about all the different things, the 4 different divisions, how's that going to be positioned or promoted, the 6-sided ring, there's just a lot of, to me, there's a lot of nuances, but at the end of the day, it's the story. And I was blessed with fantastic talent. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, we could go through on that list, but I'm excited because it's good for the industry. Change is good. That there is, without question, you know, you're going to, I've worked, Conrad, since 5:15 this morning. So, and I drove home yesterday and did a bunch of other stuff. So I haven't dove into too deep online what the online feedback is, but change is good. But I'm sure it's a lightning rod. I'm sure some people, well, Conrad, I'm asking you, but I would think some people hate it, some people love it. But I do think change is good. My one thing that I immediately thought was, have they been doing a storyline to bring it along, that there's a group of Impact? I don't know. And to my knowledge, they haven't. And I think back to, who would have ever thought WCCW, the Von Erich name, tried and true, and drew lots and lots of money through the years, and just so many. But with the no shows and the way the business was turned upside down there, who would have ever thought that USWA would have been the babyface name, and WCCW would have been the heel name. But that's kind of the storyline that we went down. And so I think you could have done a hell of a storyline out of this and really got the current watchers of Access or Impact Wrestling, because you got to do social media changes, the rebranding. Boy, oh boy, it's so much easier said than done. It is a full lift. So I'm optimistic, and it sounds like they got till January to kind of complete the thing. I just hope if they haven't, that they kind of get into a storyline to bring the people along, because I think it's a real, authentic story, and the people can be brought along in the story with it. As a long-winded answer, Connie, but there's no doubt. I told Karen this. What are your thoughts? And I said, well, for me to sit here and say that I'm not emotionally tied to that, when you put your own money up and see it go from a dream to a reality, I will forever be somewhat emotionally tied to it. But I wish Scott and the team nothing but the best, and I hope they take it to heights that it's never been before.